Hello and welcome to today's Tech Tip. Today we're going to be talking about something that we call dually fields. If you look at the measurement that I've got here, I have a trim measurement. I'm just going to rotate the part a little bit so we can see it. I've got a little groove here in my part and I have a trim check. And you can see there's the top hit, the surface check, and then there's the actual measurement on the inside of the groove here, and you can see the approach and retracts are kind of set, and it's kind of a dangerous hit on the inside here. So what we might want to do is say, well, I need to reduce the approach and retract of this measurement so it doesn't crash on the inside of this tight little groove. So if we go up to the trim measurement here and just double click on it to edit the approach and retract, we'll say, well, let's drop it down to 1 and 1 for the approach and retract. We'll say OK, and you can see it updates. And now we have that inside yellow hit that looks fine, but the problem is that the surface component of this trim check is definitely too small. It's quite possible that if there's any kind of variation in this top surface, the probe could come down and crash before it even gets into the approach and retract mechanism of the measurement. So what the reality is what we would really like is to have something with a large approach and retract on top, and then once we get into the second hit inside the groove, have a smaller approach and retract. And hence we have what we call our dually hits. So any kind of measurement that takes a hit on top and then another hit on the inside, such as a trim check, a hole measurement, or a relative slot, has this dually capability. And if we go in and double click on the trim measurement, go to the sensor tab, you'll see we've got our approach and retract that we just changed to 1. What we can do is we can actually put two values in here and separate them with a /. So what we do is we type in the first number, which is of course the first hit of the measurement, which is the surface component on top. Let's say I want that to be back at 5, and then the one on the inside, the yellow hit, I want that to be 1, so I just go 5/1. And the same thing, I can do this for the retract also. So I'll say 5/1. And now if I say OK, you'll see it updates the measurement. So I've got a nice safe approach and retract for my top hit, and then a nice tighter approach and retract on the inside hit on this dangerous groove. So this is what we call our dually fields or dual fields. And the same thing also, like I said, applies to surface measurements. As you can see, I've done it here. There's a real tall approach and retract for the surface component, but the inside measurements are a lot smaller. So that applies to trim checks, it applies to hole measurements, and it applies to relative slots. Thank you for watching today's Tech Tip.